Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Tri Phoenix first annual Writers Teleconference.
Yay!
Yay! Thank you. Tonight's guest, we are so honored. It is such a pleasure to have master teacher, extraordinary entrepreneur, executive and everything, executive auntie, grandma, everything. So, Shamsu and
Thank you.
Rita Stewart,
Yes.
other known as Rita Stewart, but I call her auntie. Anyway, but she is the author and writer of several books. Right now, she has a book out called New Goddess Agenda, and it actually launched today. Am I correct?
That's correct. It launched today. We actually had a training inside of the New Goddess Agenda, I believe, in August. So we have New Goddess Circles starting for the winter solstice. So we're excited about that because it'll give us a chance to support people in planting seeds inside of the conversation. So it's really a great time for everyone.
Thank you.
Yes.
Also, this is so exciting. So we started this conference this year because we wanted to have an outlet or have a platform for other writers that are interested, have launched a printing press, right? Or they call it, it's a press, but a publishing press, right?
It's Master Force Press, so yes, we will publish.
Yes. So awesome. So with that in mind, we're going to talk more about that. But this is definitely a platform for all of you guys to that are interested in getting in the business, interested in writing, and we did this because we wanted to do something that was closer to home. We wanted to let other people know that it's not impossible. So tonight is just one of those these wonderful things that we're going to hear from Moo Shamsu. This is my aunt, and I know her name. We call her Moo. We don't say Moo Shamsu, but we say Moo. So, but
Yeah,
no,
you can call me Moot. Moot means mother, so that's quite all right.
yes. So with no further ado, without further ado, we're going to turn it over to you, Moo, and tell us a little bit about Master Force, about yourself. How did you come about writing and becoming the executive coach, master teacher, all of that?
Well, I really do want to start off really encouraging the writers who are listening to us or the people who desire to write. I really do feel that everyone has a story to tell that will make a difference for somebody, right? So as you're listening to us talk about this, I want you to really be inspired to listen for what's possibly in your way from putting your work out there. I know I had to take several steps in order to free myself up, and I'm still taking steps to do that. So I just want to tell a little story about my first book. So I published my first book called Patiently Waiting for Nothing back in 2003. However, I completed the writing of the book in 2001. And what was very interesting about the creation of that book is that I actually quit. I sold my business, sold my house, and did some other things in the year of 2000 because I wanted to go and live the life that I desired to create. So I wanted to be a coach and I wanted to be a published writer. I wanted to be a public speaker. And so I went off to do that. And so happened when I was driving my daughter to school every day, there was this garage, and on the garage it said, fully joyful, patiently waiting for nothing. And I would drive and I would say, well, how do you do that? How do you be fully joyful, patiently waiting for nothing? And that really bothered me because I was not, it was two things I wasn't. First of all, I wasn't fully joyful. And secondly, I had no idea about being patient and waiting for something, right? I knew I needed something, but I wasn't patient about it. So I decided to meditate on what it meant to be patiently waiting for nothing, because I kind of knew how to get to the joy piece. Joy is about letting things go, not trying to control stuff. You just let it go. But patiently waiting. So I would come home and I would write down, some of the concerns and challenges I would have. I wrote down racism, discrimination, prejudice. I just had this whole list. And then one Friday, my spirit said, sit down at the computer. Just sit down and start writing. And I had a list of about 27 items that I had been writing on. And I had me a bottle of Merlot. Everybody doesn't have to drink wine. I didn't drink the whole bottle. But I tell you, I started writing that Friday night, and I wrote all night. And then I went to sleep for a couple of hours. I got up and I wrote all day Saturday. And then I went to sleep for a little while. And then Sunday morning I wrote, and my daughter and her boyfriend were there, and I asked them to come and to breakfast with me and read the book. And they sat there with their mouth open. They just loved it. They thought, this is amazing. And so I can say that I wrote that book in 3 days. Now, I want you to consider the work that we do inside of coaching people in writing is that we tell you to meditate and allow the download to really get in touch with the writer that's inside of you. So that's the reason that book was written in 3 days, because it was already percolating inside of me. I didn't have to come up with it. And then I had someone else edit it. Well, after I finished that book, on that Monday, my daughter came and gave me some critiques on it. Well, that Tuesday, it was 911. All right, the airplanes were flying into the building, and I thought the world was coming to it. And my life completely changed at that time, and I ended up putting that book on the shelf. And then a year later, I ran into another friend who said she opened a publishing house. And I was sitting next to her at a Roy Ayers concert, and I said, you were opening a publishing house? I said, well, I finished a book. And she was so excited. That night I had to go home and try to figure out where the book was, what computer it was on, because I had moved a few times. It was a number of things that had happened, right? So I found the book and I emailed it to her. She called me the next morning crying. And she said she was so full reading that book. And she said, I have to publish this book. And I told her that, I wanted to learn how to publish. So she said, well, I will show you the steps and I will act like a publishing house. So she showed me how to lay it out. I mean, just what a blessing to be able to do that first book like that. And then Borders picked it up and they had me go all over the city talking about this book. And that's when I realized that I was very introverted, I was very shy, and although I had been speaking in front of thousands of people all my life, to speak in front of a small group terrified me, right? So that's some of the coaching that we support writers in. Why was it like that? So it's because we're giving of ourselves, and not just in a entertaining way, but we're giving of ourselves in a way that people can critique, right? When you start writing, people are going to start looking for reasons, right? So there's a part of us that has to be willing to just be exposed. Just be exposed and let it be all right. It's kind of like, well, okay. And giving up that need for perfection. Giving up that need to, can you hear that, Alanda? Like really allowing yourself to just be pulled apart. So, I just want to, and since then I've written three other books, Let Your Wealth Flow, really talking about, the importance of having wealth as a conversation of abundance instead of just cash flow, right? Because some people have money, but their health is suffering. They don't have good relationships. They don't know how to enjoy life. They have a lot of money, though, you see, and that's not necessarily wealth. And then I have a book of poetry called Loving It All, and then now the New Goddess Agenda. So, did you have any questions outside of those conversations, Alanda?
Well, I know from other people they may want to know more about, like you said, you wrote the book, Patiently Waiting for Nothing, and that you're in the 10th anniversary, right? It was the 10th anniversary for it.
It's the 11th anniversary. Yeah. Yes.
Hmm. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and so doing that, what inspired you? What actually inspired you to write? I know you had a lot in you, and some people they want to write, but they don't have, how can I put it, maybe not the inspiration. Like you are on a quest to find and learn to learn something or discover yourself. Some people just write for entertainment and they still have writer's block. I can tell you for myself, I started writing for entertainment. I haven't published anything because I
Hmm.
did have two plays that I did, that I helped write or whatever, but I'm sitting on lots of stuff that I haven't presented to other people. Like you said, I haven't because I was stuck and I started on other projects. So to people like that are not just writing they're writing for a purpose, but still they want to entertain people. How do they what exactly is it that they do to unlock that?
So here's the conversation about writer's block, I would say, is inside of a trust, self trust. Being able to trust yourself to, first of all, make mistakes and not condemn yourself for it, right? I mean, if you think about any time that we were in school and we were developing the capacity to write, we were afraid to make mistakes. We were afraid to get the punctuation wrong. We were afraid that we would use the wrong word. We were afraid of sentence structure, all of those things. And all of those things are a conversation of criticizing ourselves, right? So you want to give yourself the freedom to express yourself without worrying about the criticism. You see that? So as you write, you don't critique it. You save that for the editor and other people who will help you to develop the picture that you're trying to write inside of, right? But to get your story out, just get your story out. You see that? And
Hmm.
I tell people, feeling like you have to put it on, instead of feeling like you have to put it on paper, put it on an audio. Speak into your phone and then come home and type it. This way, if you want to correct the sentence structure, you can do it like that too.
Hmm.
Okay? So the other part about writer's block is inside of uh, really having your higher self to support you in your writing. So when you go to sleep at night, I have this little trick sometimes that I do. I put a cup of water there just to let spirit know that I'm open to receiving input, right? And it's just a little ritual thing, just a little trigger for me to remember that I want to download whatever it is that I'm asking about. So as a writer, you can say, okay, whatever it is, do you need a topic? Well, then say to your higher self, can you give me a topic to write about? I am requesting your assistance in a topic to write about. Or you can say, I am requesting your assistance in writing this first chapter. There's a number of ways you can do that. And I'm not the first writer to say that. Mark Twain was the first one that came out and said, well, I don't write. My subconscious mind writes for me. I just put it on paper.
Mm-hmm.
See, so, really allow yourself to not feed into the conversation of writer's block. Okay? If you have that going on, it may be just that, it's a way to get away from not doing your own self expression. And a different way to do it. You don't have to write it on paper. Does that
Absolutely.
help?
That's a big help because
Yeah.
I learned that after was stopped writing something. I was writing based on how I felt at the time, and after doing some of the work and becoming a life coach, journaling, all of that has actually helped me separate my writing. So if I'm feeling creative, I write something. If I have to write what's going on for the day, I write that, and I myself differentiate it from the two. Like, okay, I'm writing because I'm feeling this way. I'm writing because I want to tell a story. So thank you for explaining that because some people do write how they feel, which gets some great stories when you are going through something and you write it. So that's a very awesome thing. But sometimes, like you said, you get into a point that you critique as you're writing. But if you're writing, like I said, when I started on feelings. I wrote based on my feelings, and if I wasn't feeling that way anymore, I stopped.
Yes.
Stop writing because I wasn't feeling that way anymore. So that is an awesome outlook on that. Also, with the New Goddess Agenda, and we talked about the patiently waiting, but what inspires you to write the New Goddess Agenda? So for everyone who wants to know about the other pieces and everything, go to mastercourse.com. The links are there. You can look at all the other products and information. We can touch on that later. But we want to talk about right now the New Goddess Agenda and what brought that about.
So, what brought that about was a conversation that I was having with the men who were my coaching clients. So 80% of my clients have been men. And their conversation was around not being supported in their life, okay, or not feeling like they knew how to be inside of a love relationship with a woman, or feeling like they needed more in the relationship, but they didn't know how to get it, right? So some of the things, the dynamics that I started noticing is that we don't realize that we have a generation of men who were not raised by their mothers because mothers were working, they were busy. Many of the children had to come home, what they call latchkey, right? So they had to come home by themselves. The television was there for them. They had microwave food. Sometimes they even put themselves to bed. Now, the girl in that situation can pick up on what it is to nurture from her mother because, she'd hang around the mother, right? You get nurturing from your mother just hanging around your mother. However, the boy didn't get nurturing hanging around the mother, okay? Because most of the time the boys would just go out. On your way out, take the garbage, right? Mm-hmm. Then they go hang with their buddies and they talk sports or they talk athletics. They did, testosterone things. But they did not learn how to nurture themselves. As a matter of fact, they didn't even know that they needed nurturing. But now, now, and because the universe has this energy that has come in that's more of a feminine energy. It's more about being receptive. It's more about being still. It's more about being inside of your feelings and knowing how to deal with your emotions. Well, men are going, what the hell is that? Because the only freedom they've only had emotionally is to get angry. They know how to throw a temper tantrum, kick ass, but now to feel and have compassion without rescuing, because they can feel something, but what they want to do is fix it. But you don't want to fix things all the time. You want people to feel what they're feeling and let it be okay. So New Goddess Agenda was written so that women can know how to raise the God within themselves so that they can support the men in their circle getting in touch with their own God. See, we can't help our brother kings until we first take on the work and the healing for ourselves.
Mm.
Is that clear?
Yes.
So that's what that motivation was. How do we support inside of that support? We're talking about creating the New Goddess Circle so that a group of us get together and read this book and study and use it as a catalyst to nurture each other. And then when we leave the circle, we can now go to our homes,
Mm-hmm.
right? And take that energy of nurturing and support. And men can read this book, especially if you have daughters or nieces, or if you're a coach and you have women that you support. You want to read this book and inspire circles yourself, lead circles yourself. So the New Goddess Agenda is that piece that really has us get very clear that you as the individual, you're the most important person in your universe. And until you're nurtured and taken care of, you need to pull back here and then step out and take care of other people.
Mm. That's awesome. I believe that this is something that's really needed, especially in our community. And actually, since I moved here in Dubuque, Iowa, it is a social thing. It's not black, white, it's
Right.
pretty much a social and economic class. And there are a lot of detached individuals that aren't in that level of nurturing themselves and taking care of themselves or even taking care of each other. And I totally understand. And so I think this is very much needed. And I encourage everyone to read the book, to start a circle. I will be starting a circle. We're going to talk more about that as well. I'll be starting a New Goddess Circle online.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us more about the
Right.
Goddess Circles.
So the New Goddess Agenda has 7 agendas. And what we're suggesting for each of the people who are doing circles is that every week you go through and do the agenda together, right? So agenda number 1, we would ask you to read through it, but then when you come into the circle, that you talk about the things that you discovered for yourself and how that relates to you. Some of the work can be kind of deep, kind of deep, but because many of you are coaches who will be leading the groups, and then the other people are not, like you said, we'll have some online reference for people to be able to reach out to the Master Force coaches for support. But the idea is that the circles will use this as a study group, right? Because this book is a curriculum. It's not a novel. It's not it's not for entertainment. Although, because you're learning about yourself, you will be very excited about discovering who you are. I mean, some of us are so amazing, we don't even know it because we spent our whole life trying to impress everybody else that we never took the time to get to know ourselves and to be present to our own magnificence.
Mm-hmm.
So the Goddess Circles will offer that as an avenue of self-discovery. Does that support?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear that?
Yes, I do. And I think that's really good. And so this is also for those that are watching on the other side. Even if you are, we can do it online, but even if you're not even in that to that level that you want to reach out with other people, because some people are private. You may want to read
Yes.
the just to yourself. You may read the book yourself. You don't have to join the circle, but read your
No.
book. And you can read it over and over again. You can even reach out, like as Moot says, you can definitely reach out to one of us, to a Master Force coach. We have almost 100, and
Yeah.
talk about that, touch on that. But definitely, if you want to read it for yourself, you don't necessarily have to join a group, but you read it for yourself, get what you want for yourself, and then you don't know what you'll be inspired to do. This book is for, as you said, everyone. We
Yeah.
have to really with nurture with the girls and the young men, and this is something that's really powerful. This is a powerful, powerful book. I encourage everyone to get it. It's on masterforceinc.com, and that's how you get. You will find out more information on how to purchase it online, and hard copies, right?
Well, we actually we're bringing this out in several steps. So we're bringing out the ebook this month. In December, we're bringing out the audio. So
Mm-hmm.
you'll be able, because some people prefer the listening to it, but this is one of those books that after you read it, sometimes you're just going to want to listen to it anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then in January, for my solar return, we'll bring out the hard copy. We'll have a big celebration. By then, we will have feedback from many of the goddess circles so we can know how to use it as a tool. Because again, we say that this is a curriculum that's going to make a difference, and I'm glad you said that, for the young women, for the young men who are coming up through through life, and they need something to hold on to, so we have this as a curriculum, that will be available, and we'll be able to expound on it even more as people read it.
Awesome, awesome.
Yes, very
That's
cool.
great. I'm so excited. I'm really excited about it because I mean, I read the book. I had to, I was one of those honored people that got a chance to read it, and I did the class, did the course back in the summer, and it is
Right.
exciting. It's really, really exciting. This is something that I wish I had the chance to read years ago, but
Well, we had to go through it. We had to create. We're now in the process of creating what we require.
Mhm.
We're in the process of giving to other people what we needed when we were young. Just like even creating Master Force Press. We're creating Master Force Press because so many of us have things that we want to publish, but people, sometimes we think, okay, I need somebody to pay me before I write, right? So we have to support people and coach people into sharing their gifts, and then teaching them to support themselves, and then teaching them how to do the work to get the book out, and then teaching them how to market. So that's why we call the Master Force Press a writer's den, because there's several steps inside of it. We're going to have monthly meetings, online, libraries, different places, to really support people in feeling comfortable with their own self-expression, and not being afraid. I'm I had the opportunity to be on the radio this week to do a poem, and I've been writing poetry since I was 14, but I still do it for myself.
Mhm.
I'm not, I can be a spoken word artist, but I'm not, because I'm kind of an introvert. I still have that little shy piece about me. And every year I work to do a piece at least once, so that I don't become this recluse. I could very easily be a recluse. And so I actually support myself in not doing that by, doing my poetry to someone. But I'm saying that so that we have compassion for those people who operate in that way. So everybody is not an extrovert like my niece Alanda.
What But you know what? I am very selective in being an extrovert. I'm not an extrovert all the time.
Oh, really?
Really? I go we extrovert. Okay. Side note. But I really think this is going to be great. This is really great. This is a great opportunity for other people that are inspired to write. We had some other people on the other side, and this will be rebroadcasted. I'm going to post a link, and we really want everyone to that's interested in more, want to know more about the books, want to know more about Mushim Sue. You want to know more about her and whatsinc.com. We will be more than happy to answer any questions. She's available to go on a book tour. You know, you want to book her for a book tour, some special engagements and things like that. And she sings. So
I know, right? But you know, before we go off, I do want to leave people with an assignment.
mm-hmm.
So for those people who are listening as a writer, a couple of things tonight that I want you to consider doing. One is to contact your higher self about supporting you with your writing. Okay? So this evening before you go to sleep, you know, always as a writer, always as a writer, always keep a writing utensil and pad by your bed. Always. Okay? Always as a writer. Okay? So tonight, make sure that you have that by your bed. Okay? Then, if you want to do the ritual with the water, that's fine. If not, that's okay too. But I want you to consider tonight, write down 3 things that you know about. Because a writer has to write what they know. So whatever it is that you know about, you know, if you're a parent and you want to write about, you know, how to raise creative, okay, if you're a pet owner and you want to write about how to travel with your pet, because some people need to know how to travel with their pets, right? Or if you are in the entertainment business and you want to talk about how to not be so egotistical.
Ooh, okay.
I'm just kidding, but you know, that might be helpful. But whatever it is, I want you to pick 3 things. And it doesn't mean that you have to write about them. But what happens is when you start interacting with yourself as a writer, right? Then you start having the mind to be creative and you start stimulating that right brain,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you start thinking about it. So this will be, and keep that pad of paper. I have something to write with all the time. All the time I have something to write with. You know, so keep something to write with. If it's in your purse, it's in your briefcase, by your bed, and just write. Because if nothing else, a writer writes. So
That's awesome. I have another question. Okay, so what tip would you give for those, and I've heard other people say this, they will write some things and they are belonging to certain groups or a certain, they go to, you know, they belong to certain groups or go to church or, and there's things they want to write about, but they're afraid about how people would judge them. What tip would you give them as far as having an open mind without, not tuning everybody out, but just knowing that this is, like you said, you tell them to contact, no, get in touch with your higher self. So
yeah.
when those that are self-critiquing, and some people have their higher selves, they think that their higher self critiques them.
No.
What tip would you give them to know that their higher self loves them?
Well. Actually, you just answered. You asked 3 questions right there.
Answer all three.
Let me, right? That's a Gemini thing. Let me, let me first say that when you write, you can always use a pseudonym. So, people say all the time, the names have been changed to protect the innocent or the guilty, as Dr. Xavier Fox likes to say, right? So go ahead and write your story, change the names. When you get ready to publish in a different name. Okay? This is, I do know that writing is very healing. So it's not just because you want to talk about people. It's because you want to open up something in you that needs to be expressed,
Mm-hmm.
right? So writing is very healing. But also, if it's healing for you, it's also going to be healing for the reader, right? It's other people that can be healed by your work. So go ahead and write. People have ghostwriters all the time. Matter of fact, maybe we'll have ghostwriters. So you can work with us. We'll help you write, and we'll just pick a name for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you still get all the royalties. But
Right.
people do that all the time.
Okay.
The other thing is that life is about experience. It's not about getting it right. So we've been raised in a religious community, a religious society that tells us that God judges us and wants us to do this and this and this. Well, for real, if if we really trust our life and going through what we're going through, we will come to a point where we get very clear that God, or we are the image of God being expressed. So our life is about expressing who we are, who God is through us. So we just want to allow that expression without judgment. There's no good, bad, ugly. It's all good because it's all expression.
Mm.
So our higher self is not sitting there judging us. And again, you have the support of the Master Force Press. You have several people that will look at your work before, you put something out there. We'll make sure that it's not going to be harmful either to you or your audience, right? So you'll have, it's not like you're going to have a thought and then all of a sudden it's going to be printed. We're going to support your expression and your healing all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Does that answer, Alanda?
Yes, it does. Because I know, like I said, I've been through all those stages, and I actually still talk to people that go through those stages, and yeah, a ghostwriter. I know someone right now that wants to write, and he's writing under a pseudonym actually, but he still thinks he's going to get found out. I don't know
Well,
how,
well,
but
it doesn't matter. It
yeah.
doesn't matter if he gets found out or not because if he's writing about his life, he
Hmm.
has the right to do that. It's his life.
Yeah.
And if other people were involved in it, okay, that's fine. Like you say, he can change the name. And I want you to be clear. I remember when I remember years ago, she wrote her first book and she put people's names and stories in there. And she did get sued and she had to go back and pull those books. But she learned.
Hmm.
And the rest of us learned too. Don't
Hmm.
put the names in there.
Right. Make the names up. Yeah.
Make them up and do enough creative writing that
Mhm.
people don't have to be directly affected by it. And that's what creativity is about because we're not writing to do harm, right? We're
Right.
really writing to express ourselves, to heal, and to make a difference for someone else. So
Awesome.
very
That
good.
that is really awesome. Thank you so much. I really believe this is something that all writers, every writer, we are really pretty much tonight touched on the, I want to say, the wholesome and wholeness of writing. You know,
Yeah.
some people would talk about their successes and all of that, but this is really the true soul, touch your soul type of writing. That's
Yes.
and this is why I really wanted to kick it off with you, because this is pretty much the get down in, you know, in your inner everything to unlock a lot of things. And some people, like I said, write for other reasons and really don't realize that you are writing to free yourself, to express yourself.
Yes.
And
Yes.
this is some awesome work. And if people, once people read your story and hear more, you know, about your story, because I know you share a lot of things, they would know, you know, everyone have the potential of being great. You know,
Yes.
when you think you have, you know, you come from your background. So what type of background you come from? So what? You can still, you are great. You are here. You're great. That's what
Yes.
you're here
Yes.
for.
And it's so good that you say that, Alanda, because really, I was in a course a few years ago, and someone stood up in the room and they said, I want what I do to make a difference for disadvantaged children. And I said, okay, can you define disadvantaged children? And she said, well, black kids that live in the ghetto. I said, well, you know what's very interesting is that I have met some wealthy white children who I felt were at a disadvantage as well. So it's kind of like we have fed into a conversation that says that growing up in poverty and being of certain color and being in a social economic status makes you disadvantaged compared to someone who's grown up with money, with parents or whatever. See, no, no, I'm sorry, but
Hmm.
it's not. We're all getting to the point where we have to be whole, whether we're coming from that extreme or that extreme.
Hmm.
You all have to hook up with the universe because I can tell you that I've seen money destroy some amazing people, and I've seen poverty create some amazing people.
Hmm.
So
Absolutely.
both extremes matter.
Absolutely.
Okay? And one is not better than the other. We all have to get to the point where we're clear that our gifts are here to make a difference first for ourselves and then for our community.
Mm, that is powerful. That is really awesome. Thank you so much for that.
Yes.
And so the Master Force Press, is it ready? Is it up? Are we up and going?
Master Force Press is ready. We will add the matter of fact, I have the list to send to you and Rolana to sign off on. I will do that this evening. The pricing list and all the different things, the different areas that people will be concerned with, because we will help people with their ISBN numbers. We will help people with their cover designs. We'll help people with their editing. We'll also do consultations with people either that have books ready to go or even people that just need to get an idea,
Mm.
right? They want to write, but they don't know what to write about. So we have a full fee list, and I will send you that this evening. And then, yeah, they'll be able to go to the site probably as soon as Monday. We'll put something else out. We just want to get some feedback from people. And if you've been on this call, we'll probably just send you the link.
Awesome. Thank you. So are you publishing the magazine that's coming out next year?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Are you publishing the magazine that's coming out next year?
Yes, you're coming out. Are you coming out in the spring of next year? That would be great.
Yes.
Yes, I love
Yes.
that. That's
Absolutely.
always, the spring would be wonderful.
Uh-huh.
Yay! I love that.
Yay. That was one of the biggest secrets that I was holding on to. So somebody, I'm not announcing it yet, but if you're watching the call, hey, you got some little insider info.
That's right. That's right. I love that because we've been talking about that. You were waiting for the press to be ready. We're excited. We are so excited.
And also, after our course, the Genius Protection Plan course, I will have a book ready.
Wow, wonderful.
Yeah.
Yay.
So, but enough about me, more about you. Where can those that want more information on what you, on your book, on you, on Master Force, and
Yeah,
every.
so everything is on masterforceinc.com. Yeah, if you want to send an email to me, send it to info@masterforceinc.com. I'm on Facebook, Rita Stewart. Also, I have a fan page, Mushem Suit Transformational Life Coach. So we're out there.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. As they say, we out here.
That's right. That's right. And if you want to just, and you can also find it on the Phoenix pages, on Phoenix Rise Productions page, and the Goldie pages, which is a resource for blasting all the entertainment, anything you want to know about, go to the Goldie pages, but more so the affiliates of of Phoenix Group. So you can definitely go there and find more information about the Master
Yes,
Force, Mushim Soup, upcoming events and things of that on how to be, and also how to get certified as a Master Force coach. We got a
yes.
lot to talk about that. I know this is the Writers Conference, but give quick little information about the Master Force curriculum.
Well, it's so interesting because we have two classes. We have a spring course and we have a fall course. But after this year, we'll probably have more because the Master Force coaches will be able, the senior coaches will be able to certify people. You guys are now ready to go ahead and use the curriculum to certify as many teams of coaches that you have time for. So that's exciting. But other classes that we offer the Tao of Parenting, we offer Couple School, Kundalini Magic, Patiently Now, ACEs for children. We also have educational products like the Student Visualization for Academic Achievement, the Wealth Manifestation Meditation. So we really do look to support the expansion of our community inside of a conversation of self-actualization,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah, so we're like empowered self,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we're excited about the work that we're doing, and it just gets better all the time. Even you, Alanda, um, you've been a coach, you've been a senior coach, now you're being trained as an executive coach. You're teaching a class, the Genius Protection Program, which I'm a part of, and out of that, I'm producing my show and an album next year. So that's a whole nother piece,
Mm-hmm.
because we call each other out. We take each other to our next level. And that's what's so exciting, to be with a team of amazing people that only want the best for you. How cool is that? Because many of us come from families, right?
Very cool.
Right. We come from families that like, yeah, go sit over there. Get out my face.
You know what? And you know what? I've realized that even in even in the circle, and I've been listening to a book, and competition is something that is a self-created resistance type of, sort of speak. You know what I mean? It's like it's self-created. There's no such thing as competition because there's an abundance of everything. So
Oh, yes.
so support like this is so important. This is why we want to do the teleconference, because we want to share
Yes.
that we support the writer. We support you. We are not in competition. There is billions of people on this planet that need what you have.
Yes.
Multiple different needs. Needs come up every day. So this conference is to help the writer. We have resources. Master Force Press is coming out, and they're going to be a resource to the writer. The New Goddess Agenda is supportive for our youth, our families, our friends, our sisters, our brothers. That's what the New Goddess Agenda is, patiently waiting for nothing. Same thing, the student visualization. All of these tools are to help and support each other. And,
Yes.
and out of love, when we're speaking out of love, and this is something that is lacking, that some people just need and don't really realize that this is what they need. And so we thank you. I want to thank you so much. And, not just because you're my aunt, but I thank you because of you. I'm giving an award speech. Because of you, I'm sitting right here today. But honestly, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Any last words before we sign out?
Yeah, I want people to know that it's okay for us to give our gifts without waiting for someone's permission or without waiting for someone to pay us. Okay, because really, if we just contribute to each other and we contribute our gifts could do to build together, I promise you the abundance, the opulence, the flow, it's all there. It's all there. Let's stop being stingy. Look and see what you can do to make a difference for someone else, right? Without looking for something, but just because you have a gift. Do it from your heart. They can receive it or not, but do it from your heart. And when you do that, you will feel so rich. And I just thank you all for being on this call. Thank you for listening. Alanda, thank you for putting this together. Thank you for your continued encouragement. And today, the book came out on Rudy's birthday.
What? Oh my goodness. Look at
that. Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
that was really, I was feeling some kind of way today, and it was really interesting. And then Rute came and he said, Ma, today is my dad's birthday. Wow. I was like, that's what it is.
That's what it is.
So I spent the day acknowledging him and really listening to him, getting his acknowledgement. And so he would have been 64 today.
Oh my goodness, really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, oh my God, I'm just really excited. I'm just really grateful for this, for all of this and this energy and where we're moving into. And I am so excited. I thank everyone that is watching on the other side. Thank you for participating. Tomorrow night, we will have another writer. She's published several books. In addition to that, we will have, her name is Takesha Howard, which is my business partner, sister, friend. She's written several books.
Amazing woman, amazing.
Yes, she is, and she's also written a few songs that's out. She's going to talk about the music publishing and self-publishing, and just different ways on what got her started. Pretty much what you talked about today. But we're going to go in with it in a different way because she does a lot of Christian-based writing. So she's going to be on there tomorrow night. We're also going to talk to Lawana Johnson, which is another business partner of mine for the Phoenix. She writes biographies. She does a lot of the Goldie Pages writing and article writing for me. So she's going to talk about blog writing and biographies. And she also is creative writing. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow night. I do thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Moot. I love you. I really am excited. It's such an honor and a pleasure to constantly work with you and constantly hear all your projects. You inspire me, so thank you. And thank you all.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. And good night. And we will stay tuned for tomorrow.
All right. Peace.